Cold War, that is the name we give for the time before it is undeniable that we're in World War III. It's cold right now, but eventually it will be hot. I would love it if our leaders could stop leading us into World War III. We are in a Cold War right now with China. And the Cold War comes before the hot war. There will be another world war. You know, the First World War was called the War to End All Wars. 21 years later, there was World War II. So why would there not be a third? I think that's the first thing we got to realize. Of course there will be a third. I think people are just blindly going through life thinking we'll never make that mistake again. There's only 21 years between the First and Second World War. And we are in a Cold War buildup right now as we speak. All of history is the history of empires. Empires rise and empires fall. It's been that way forever. And today, there are two empires in the world. You have the American Empire, which since the end of World War II, we've been the leader of the world. And it's all most of us have ever known. I've only lived my life in a country that has controlled everything. That we've controlled the world's institutions, the world, like innovation, technology. We are the reserve currency. We won wars. We led coalitions of the willing. Right? We made the movies. We have Levi's blue jeans. Like, we do it all. America leads everything. We have the music. We do everything, right? America. That's our empire. But all empires have fallen. I don't want to see our American empire collapse. Not in my lifetime. And I don't want my kids either. That's one empire. The other empire today is China. They are our biggest threat. Who will win? Oh, Slater, you're being so dramatic. Okay. I made a theorem up. I made it up. I called it the GS patent third principle of unsatisfied urgency. I just made that up to make it sound like an impressive thing. The GS patent third principle of unsatisfied urgency. What does that mean? This is how it goes. You're watching this now. You say, oh, Slater says we're headed to World War III. That's what he says. But then I went to bed and I woke up and there was no World War III. Therefore, he was wrong. Everything's fine. Like, we think things just happen like this. No, things take time to materialize. I would argue that the buildup to World War I was 44 years. It was 44 years of buildup. These things don't go from 0 to 60 overnight. They slowly build, and we're in that build right now. That's the Cold War. We're in the Cold War part right now. But at this rate, in the direction we're heading in, it'll go hot. Russia and Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine. That is, I don't want to say without a doubt, because who knows, right? Most likely, one of these micro conflicts that we will look back on as a stepping stone to world war. It may not look like much right now, but when the current and previous two prime ministers of England say that we should send fighter jets to Ukraine, that's a problem. The most recent prime minister says she can't wait to see fighter jets. She said, I can't wait to see them. What? What are you talking about? Fighter jets to Ukraine? Are you out of your mind? This is Biden, our president, back in March 2022, right before we sent tanks.
The idea that we're going to send in offensive equipment and have planes and tanks and trains going in with American pilots and American crews, just understand, and don't kid yourself, no matter what you all say, that's called World War III, okay? Let's get it straight here, guys.
Today, I'm announcing that the United States will be sending 31 Abrams tanks to Ukraine.
A year went by. What's going to happen in the next year? The president says we will never run out of resolve. For what? Until what? Ever? Huh? What are you talking about? What's the end of this thing? And then the president of China, Xi, says he's planning on visiting Russia. Okay, super, great. Our ambassador to the United Nations says that if China provides lethal aid to Russia, like we've been doing to Ukraine, then that would be crossing a red line. So now we're drawing red lines. Do you remember when Obama did that with Syria and then didn't follow through, made us super weak? So you're drawing a red line, you're setting yourself up. So then the former US ambassador to Russia said that if China provides lethal aid to Russia, it would require a worldwide response. A worldwide response. A war that the whole world is involved. A worldwide response. A war with the world. A world war. What are we doing? We're in the Cold War phase right now. 100 years from now, or less, historians will be writing about World War III. Right? And whatever the sides are, I think we can see them pretty clearly right now if we want to break it down. And we'll be like, well, how did we get here? How did we get to this point? How did China align with Russia? How did that happen? Like, oh, well, do you remember? There was a war in the Dunbar province of Crimea between Russia and Ukraine. And it'll be like this little footnote in history that'll be a part of the bigger story that it's leading to. We're just setting the stage right now. That's what's happening in the Cold War right now as we speak. The stage is being set and the allies are being solidified. China's also watching how the world responds to Ukraine because they have a very similar situation in Taiwan. So let me give you the very short of that, and you'll know more than anyone on this issue. So here's what's going on with Taiwan, because once we kick it off with China, this is what it's going to be about. In the 1600s, China took control of this island of Taiwan. Taiwan's very small, it's the size of Maryland. So 1600s, China took control, that's important. Then the Japanese took it from them in 1895. The Japanese and the Chinese hate each other with the passion of 1,000 suns, never forget that. So the Japanese have it. Then there was a civil war in China between the nationalists and the communists. Chairman Mao was in charge of the communists. The nationalists lost, they fled to Taiwan. But then when Japan lost World War II, they got out. The Japanese, we're out of here now, right? So the Chinese nationalists took over control of Taiwan. Not the communists, the nationalists. So that's the lay of the land. So China today, the communist, says, well, that's ours. We were there since the 1600s. And Taiwan says, no, it's not yours. It's ours. It's Taiwan. We're Taiwan. We come from the Chinese nationalists that fled, and now we're in control. So that's the dispute. Now, China has a military of 2 million people. Taiwan has a military of 150,000. So the second that China decides to take them over, they'll just get crushed, and they'll just kill as many people as they feel like it. Now, it affects us because, well, there's a lot of reasons, but one of the big ones is almost all of our computer chips are made there, which is in everything, cars, 65% to be more specific. So we have some strategic interest in Taiwan. We have maybe a global interest of Taiwan being free, and China has an interest in them being communist, and this will come to blows. We think of a world war as this giant war, like America versus China. But every nation has their own reasons, their own motivations, their own goals. And it may be Taiwan. Like, really? You have a world war over Taiwan? Yeah. China wants world domination, always have. America wants, I don't know. I'm not sure what America wants. I guess to hold on to whatever bit of empire we have left, whatever amount of prestige and influence and power we have left on the world stage, we want to keep it. I don't even think that's true. I don't think people on the left even want America to be the greatest country in the world. The reaction to COVID was a chance for us to be different from the world. And instead, we listened to the world organizations led by the WHO who are controlled by China, and we responded to COVID like China did. We shut down our economy for the first time in history. So we already see the effect that China has on us right now. COVID will also be written about in the history books as a major lead up to World War III. That's a part of the Cold War, there's no question. So it's inevitable, I think, World War III. We just don't know how many steps it is until it finally kicks off. Hey, thanks for watching that clip. I'm starting to get very concerned about World War III and the steps that are, the alignments that are happening right now around the world. I don't care for it at all. So to learn more about where we're headed, you can download the First TV app, watch this special for free, also available on thefirsttv.com. We need to be aware of this. We need to be ahead of this. While the rest of the country is going to sleepwalk into World War III, we will not.